Hi everybody, Dice Crazy Dude here. Today we'll be looking at some of DNDWoW's Cthulhu-inspired big metal D20s, as well as their gold Mind Flayer dice set. I'm sure that playing with these won't cause any sort of sanity damage. Cthulhu Riley Northlicht up! We'll start with the big metal D20s in both bronze and nickel with red lettering for Call of Cthulhu. You can see these come pretty simply packaged. We've got a black velvet bag. So let's get them to the table and let's start rolling. DNDWoW sent me all the dice that I'm showing today, but I want to be clear that I'm not being paid to do this review, nor did they have any oversight or influence anything I might make. I simply like these dice and I thought you might like them too. So these normally retail for $19 a piece. They are solid metal, so they are big and heavy. These actually are noticeably larger than Die Hard Dice's Dire D20s, and they're absolutely gigantic compared to a standard D20. I'll throw a comparison photo for that. When I roll these things, I want to shout, release the Kraken. I mean, they are that big and heavy. They are authoritative in rolling. Now, Ribinator did a review of the hollow version of these dice, and he mentioned that sometimes they have almost like a kickstand effect where they get stuck when you roll them. But these being solid metal with that much mass, that's not an issue whatsoever. I really like the level of detail that these dice have. You can see there's pupils on all the eyes, there's suckers on the tentacles, they've got raised numbering, and those tentacles actually continue on underneath those numbers, which I think is just really neat. They've put that Mind Flayer / octopus head in the corners, and it's nice and rounded, so it helps these roll a little better, and it prevents a little bit of damage from their weight. I think the red lettering works really well on both dice. I think it stands out nicely, it's easy to read. I haven't noticed any issues with inking on any of these dice. The only issue is really kind of on some of the numbering edges. You can see like the metal there, just from the mold, is incomplete. And that is present on both dice. You can see that here as well. But it's really not a big issue. And like I said, the inking's complete and done really well. I think the nickel version looks a little more sinister overall. It's a little bit darker in appearance. Whereas that bronze, I think, really highlights the little details nicely, makes them pop out. Under fluorescent light, the nickel is actually a little bit shinier, whereas the bronze has kind of a matte effect. So it almost absorbs the light. You will notice that around the one edge here, there's actually a flash line that continues on across that entire top face. That is present on both dice. But to me, it's a little less noticeable on the nickel version, especially under lower light levels. I would love to see a copper version of these with like a green patina on them, almost like it's some sort of rusted copper artifact that's been dredged up from the depths of the ocean. I think that would be really neat, especially with just the design elements they have. Now, they obviously market these as Call of Cthulhu RPG dice, but I think these would work great in the Alien RPG, or if you're playing the Salt Marsh or Underdark campaign for D&D, or any sort of fantasy seafaring adventure you might go on, or any number of the cosmic horror or conspiracy RPGs. And I think where these could really shine is actually used as counters or trackers for health or power or sanity level in some of the Call of Cthulhu board games out there, you know, Arkham Horror, Death May Die, or even as a marker for House Greyjoy in Game of Thrones. Obviously, these things need a easier name. Big Metal D20 Bronze Red for Call of Cthulhu is a search engine mouthful. They have a 4-digit code, but those aren't really friendly to memorize either. And then you need a dice tray when you roll these things. I mean, they're big, they're heavy, and they'll do damage. You can see there's even some little dents in my dice tray here. So if you like the look of these guys, or any of DNDWoW's D20s, stay tuned. At the end, I got a coupon code that'll get you a discount on them. Next up, we have the gold medal dice for Call of Cthulhu, also known as a Mind Flayer dice set. You can see from the packaging slipcase here, it's designed a little more for display than it is reusability, but inside that foam packaging, they've given you a nice little velvet black bag to store your dice in. All right, let's get to the table and let's get rolling. This die set normally retails for $25. You can see that it's actually a sharp-edged metal set with engraved numbers and engraved design elements. These dice are really solid weight and they're really well executed. I haven't seen any engraving errors on any of the dice, and I like that stylized font they use. It's got a little bit of flair, but it's still really readable. And I like how the creature, for a lack of a better term, is on each of the die faces, but it doesn't overwhelm them. You're still easily able to see the number value, and it's just really incorporated well. So on the D4, they've got that creature in the center, and it's got its arms reaching out to each of the faces. On the D6, they've pushed it to the edges, almost like a border encircling your number result. For the D8 and the D20, that creature now is perched above, almost reaching out its tentacles to guard those numbers. And then on your D10 and your percentile die, it's got a similar design to the previous dice, but they've pulled those tentacles back a little bit, almost as if that creature's now reaching for the numbers instead. And then finally, on the D12 here, you can see with that slightly wider face, they've actually expanded its body, and now it's got an extra set of arms. Now, normally this isn't really a dice theme that I would have gone for, but I'm really glad I have these guys. You know, they're just a really excellent set of dice. They roll nice, they feel nice in the hand, they are a little sharp, so you gotta be careful of that, and they're really good value for the money. I think the nickel version, as of this recording, is actually on sale for $17, which is just, I think, a really great deal. So yeah, obviously they market these for Call of Cthulhu RPG games, but I think these could really work well in any sort of sci-fi adventure. You know, that almost looks like a little alien to me, especially here on the D12. It's like a little alien creature, so I think you could use these in a wide range of games beyond just Cthulhu's themed ones. So if you like these, check them out. Stupid straitjacket. Oh hey, so we've survived a look at some eldritch themed dice from DNDWoW today. No worse for the wear. I think these would be great not just for Call of Cthulhu, but a wide range of fantasy and sci-fi games where you're facing off against strange enemies, dark and sinister plots, or maybe just the cosmic horror of the unknown. And I think these could really shine as kind of blinged out trackers or counters for some of the Cthulhu board games out there. So if you like these dice, use that coupon code and get yourself some. And hey, I got a psych review board coming up, and I think some likes and subscribes would really help me get past that. So thanks everybody, and remember to keep rolling. Bye. Stupid jacket.